When I discovered the Rebbe and his teaching, when I discovered Chassidut, my soul opened to the idea that I have real purpose.
It's almost like my whole life was converging on this point. Like I have the ability to help here.
The world is now looking at Israel, and we must represent light and resilience.
I never met the Rebbe, but I feel the Rebbe's presence in my life very, very strongly.
I grew up in the mid-70s in North Tel Aviv. I grew up in what you would call probably a secular home. I knew of my identity as being Jewish, but to be honest, not much connection. All of my grandparents were Holocaust survivors, but specifically my grandmother Hannah really influenced my upbringing. She was on the train that she later discovered was on the way to Auschwitz. She was lucky enough and brave enough to jump off that train. She lost her father, her mother, her brother, and sister, but she survived. I was raised to be ready for something bad that was going to happen. My grandmother used to feed me huge amounts of chicken soup very early in the morning during the week to make sure that I'm fuller and stronger. So when the next horrible thing happens, God forbid, I can survive a few more days. So really anxiety became the essence of who I was. From a young, anxious girl, I became an anxious teenager, always worried, always concerned. I probably spent 15 years of my life going to psychotherapy sessions with 4 different therapists. But I felt I was hitting kind of the wall again and again. I was carrying deep sadness, fear, and anxiety.
As a young girl, I tried to be successful, but it didn't work out. I tried. The girls in my class, they had those cool hobbies in the afternoon, playing the flute, playing the guitar, arts and crafts. I was awful. Everything I did came out. It was a catastrophe. The end of Kita Elef, first grade, my teacher asked me, what are you good at? Try to find the light. Try to find the skills you have. What are you good at? And I was good at reading and writing and speaking. I started interviewing all the kids in my class. I interviewed everyone. Each individual looked to me like a pearl, like a gem, like they have something to share with the world, and I should convey the message. I should share the story. I interviewed all the kids in my school, and then I was invited to be part of Israeli television.
תמשיכו לשלוח לנו פקסים ומכתבים, אנחנו נמשיך לענות. עכשיו נעבור למבזק בי.
At the age of like 7 or 8, I started interviewing Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, the President Shimon Peres.
אפרת אמר שהוא מוכן למות תמורת הבית.
That became my career. I was the girl on TV, from TV in Israel. That was I became quite famous.
I graduated from the University of Michigan and I went off to travel the world. I ended up spending over 2 years in India studying yoga and meditation and began to pursue this yoga and meditation path for the next 20 years. As a lawyer, I soon became a mediator, and I developed a way of practicing law that focused on the emotional component of disputes. As a result of my practice, I ended up getting featured in the American Bar Association Journal. I was at that time fully involved in this yoga meditation group, and I was introduced to Rabbi Paltiel in Port Washington. He asked me if I had put on tefillin before. It had been at least well over 25 years since I put on tefillin. He said, sit in the chapel area, close your eyes, and meditate, which I did. And I had a very deep experience of tremendous stillness and calm. And this really intrigued me.
I started working in companies like eBay and Facebook. I became head of company culture at TikTok. But I found that I was revisiting childhood experiences again and again. I wasn't able to overcome this constant looking backwards. And at some stage, I was really frustrated with my upbringing, and I was wondering, why couldn't I have been born to a house maybe like my friend, who seems like they're having a great time, and they seem like happier and much more calm than I was. When I discovered the Rebbe and his teaching, when I discovered Chassidut, my eyes, my heart, and my soul opened to the idea that I have a real purpose and a strong meaning in my life. It was a journey, but something awakened inside of me, and I think it was my soul.
Rebbe hat gegeben, jeder Mensch, Malachas Kammer wie Kammer, jeder Rieden, zusammen mit den Möglichkeiten und den Kirches, was bekommt, gibt mir die Möglichkeit. Soll sie entwickeln in der Fuß der Moos.
I learned from the Rebbe that we are special and we have a special task, purpose, journey to take in this world. Every single person has the potential to lead. What does it mean to lead? To understand who you are, what makes you you, and what is the role that you can play in this world.
Demut wird sein mit der Hatzloch, worin geht in den Weg, was in der Sommer, was zugepasst zu seinem Charakter und zu seinen Möglichkeiten und zu seinen Schlichus, wo der Rebbe hat ihm gegeben.
We often don't understand, why is this going on? Why is my life not perfect? What I realized was that was the right journey for me. And that actually the experiences that I had, and some of them were painful, those were the right experiences for me, for my soul.
חזרנו. לא בכל יום מגיע אורח כזה לאולפן או המילואימניק הוותיק בצה"ל. I thought there's like a separation. I'm a journalist. When I'm at home, I keep mitzvot. And when I'm there, the studio, interviewing people, there's nothing to do with the Torah I keep at home. But then I discovered the Rebbe's view, understanding the concept of shlichut. It's not like either you're a good journalist or you're a good Jew. There's no contradiction. The contrary, it fits. If you're good at something, this is your shlichut. That's what you're supposed to do. When you have the mic, when you talk to people, you convey a message. For me, that was really revolutionary. I wrote something about Parashat HaShavua, the weekly portion we read in the Torah. In a minute, Facebook informs you this was the most popular post you ever posted. I was shocked. I was sure, of course, it's a mistake. So the next day, I tried again. Boom. The same magic happened. Today, this daily portion became a project. We have hundreds of thousands of people. We reach out to them every day. Today, I have a Torah class every week on TV, on Israeli TV. And it's not a religious channel. Everything I do is affected from this perspective of shlichut, of a mission. It changed my life.
10-7 is something that no one Jewish has experienced in 2 generations. Nothing like that has happened since the Holocaust. So many Jews were murdered just for being Jewish. I mean, who was able to sleep the night when they heard? Who was able to sleep for weeks afterwards? And I think every Jew wanted to know, what can we do? I was on Twitter, and the algorithm happened to show me a tweet saying, if there's one man anywhere in the world that will commit to start wearing tefillin every single day, I will get him a pair of tefillin. When I saw that, it smacked me in the face, and a light bulb went off. This is what the Rebbe talked about always. The Rebbe explains that by wearing tefillin, it's a special merit that our enemies will fear us and that we'll be victorious in war. And I right away knew that this is what the Rebbe wants from me. I run a very successful deals blog with my brother Dan. And I'm like, do you want to split 50 pairs of tefillin and offer them on our website to men that want to start rapping every day? He said, yeah, also, same as you, amazing, let's do this. We put up a form on our website to sign up. Within a few hours, we had hundreds of applicants of men that wanted to start rapping tefillin every single day. A few days later, we found out that Hamas had taken 1,200 souls from us. I got so angry in that moment that I decided that we must get 1,200 men that are committed to rapping tefillin every single day a pair of tefillin. And that's how we're going to be able to commemorate the 1,200 souls that Hamas took from us. When I started the campaign, friends of mine told me, you're crazy, you have to raise $1 million. I've never done anything like that before, but I felt it deep in my soul that that's what we have to do.
Since October 7th, people are so confused. I mean, we were shocked, we were devastated. And I looked at the Rebbe's perspective in order to find solutions and meaning, and I realized I must convey messages of faith and hope and optimism. That's my mission, that's my task.
There's good parnasa and good health.
Thank you,
and
sir.
Good news about spreading Yiddishkeit around here. That's one of the main endeavors of every one of the Jews, me included.
I never met the Rebbe, but I feel the Rebbe's presence in my life very, very strongly. I used to live my life which is focused on myself and my family. But through many of the Rebbe's talks, I learned that we all have a circle of influence. And it's much broader than we believe. And as we start tapping that circle of influence, it starts expanding. I proposed to a friend of mine that he come over on Shabbat and we studied the Parsha. And as time evolved, it started expanding to now over a dozen people. The people in the Torah class have shared how profound that has been for them in their lives. They're now studying Torah on Shabbat. Most of them are attending every Shabbat for services. The women are lighting Shabbat candles. They share how they've now encouraged other people in their circle of influence to do the same. My wife and I proudly say that these are our grandchildren because the people we've influenced are now influencing others.
What I learned from the Rebbe is every single person has potential. And my role is to look into people's eyes and see that potential and help them grow, fulfill, and bring to life their potential.
I was fascinated to discover that there was a Jewish wisdom. Your presence has purpose. Find out what is purposeful, not just for you, but for the world.
Stay a journalist, a lawyer, whatever you do, but just change the way you look at others and be more active.
I've always said, if you know Elef, teach Elef. If you have something to give it. I had this platform getting 5 million people visiting it every single day from around the world. And this is our chance to use it. Like, I was in an Ivy League law school when I left to join my brother. And it's almost like my whole life was converging on this point. Like, I have the ability to help here. I have the ability to do something.
Just like the Lubavitcher Rebbe said once, we should not be fans, we should be players. I think that's the deepest message to nowadays Jews. I'm sure he would like us to be shlichim. I even think maybe that's our mutual mission. 30 years since Gimel Tammuz. We seriously need everyone.
People think that leaders are just the ones that have 3 million followers on Instagram, or they're heads of country or CEOs. The Rebbe told us something very different. Every single person has the potential and is a leader. Remind yourself that you have a role and purpose in this world and take action on the unique purpose that you have.